Welcome to Fuji. Now, as you can see in this race at the bottom left, everybody has a green badge. That means they are a trusted driver, safe, not crashy, but people you want to be side by side with. There is one person in this race that somehow obtained this badge, and it makes the mind boggle as to how. They're in position 17, rocking a yellow Ford Mustang. So keep an eye out for that car. You can see it in the distance there. It is a work of art how they managed to get the trusted badge, because this race, they either lost their cool or this is a normal habit. I'll let you guys decide. Also, at the end of this video, we are still showing the crash cam, so make sure you stick around for that. This race, we're going to be rocking the lovely Mercedes, a trusty old bit of kit, but it is a bit clumsy at this track. So in race 2, we upgrade to a beautiful bit of machinery. What a car it was, and how it handled at this track was incredible. What a bit of kit, but that is again in the second race. This one for this race here, like I say, it's clumsy. It's the back end likes to step out a little bit in places, and it does like to have a bit of lift off oversteer. Problem we're having at the moment, Jay Shin is behind us in this fast section. Braking just after the Goodyear sign. Jay Shin does that. Absolutely beautiful. Thank you ever so much, buddy. Very much appreciated. Smashing my back doors in off the track. And to be fair though, this is where I will give a bit of leniency, because in the replays it does show that they went to the left, touched a bit of dirt, under braking, and that's where the rear end contact came into play. But it doesn't excuse the rest of the driving. I will say that. Yellow flag up ahead. What's going on here? Alexis has had a moment and possibly met the wall. Again, that is for later on in the video, where we get to watch crash cam of all the victims at play here, such as that Aston Martin, who has lost a whole wheel within the first lap. The chances of that just makes the mind boggle. This lobby is meant to be clean and tidy, and yet it's like that already. Sometimes you might think that being in the rookie lobby was probably a safer bet, and for this race, I would agree. Certainly agree. Second race, totally different, and it's weird how that works out. Coming around for this corner now, Lexus does go actually very slow in this section here. I know we're on lap 3 at the moment, but we're stuck behind them for 2 laps, and it was really frustrating of how slow they took that corner, because you get right up behind them, think, brilliant, I'm going to get a much better exit, send it down here, and they go so slow through that corner, you just have to brake and you lose all momentum. But the Mercedes has solved that problem for us. Mercedes got slapped a little bit by the Lexus and thought, you know what, I'm not having none of that, and have a bit of a taste of your medicine, and sent them off to oblivion. So that is a position gained. We are under a bit of a problem from Jay Shin there. Made a move. Do you know what? It's going to be safer to let you go. I'm going to hang back and watch this all develop. And this is a big problem with Jay Shin, because they're so unpredictable. You know, the lines are a little bit weird, and they're very, very aggressive. So you can't predict what their next move is going to be. I mean, we have a BMW right up behind us. They're going to be in a firing line for taking that position. Can we just get over a little bit? Past the Mercedes, who surrendered. They pulled back on the momentum. Makes you wonder why. Well, we're coming up to the first corner, braking just before the 100 board. I'm going to let off a little bit earlier, create a bit of stale area for myself and the Jay Shin, and a little bit of contact from the BMW and Jay Shin. So that's all right. Bit clumsy into turn 1. We saw it develop. We wasn't a part of it. And by lap 5, we're still all in the same boat, and actually still all on the track, which is absolutely great news. Overall, this is what I say about the Mercedes. It's a little bit tail happy. Although traction control and everything's on, as you can see, it's in level 6, whatever. And we still get situations like that. And it does destroy the confidence you once had with this car, where it was a little bit more stable, more planted, but not the case. What on earth is going on here? That is a new way to race. So that's what I mean by Jay Shin. Absolutely. What on earth are you doing, my friend? You know what? You're going that way. I'll say you're going backwards, but you're going forwards, but backwards. You're out of the way. We're not going to have any problems from them anymore. Unless, actually, no, they will come back around because a few more laps and we'll be right up behind them. In front of them. Whatever. Try working that mess out. 10 minutes of this race remaining. You know, they haven't been booted or anything yet. So, you know, it's all of that to play for at the moment. Just need to make sure we can nail this corner and not overcook it. Very gentle on the brakes when you let off the throttle. Don't want to have a bit of lift off oversteer like we did previously. Around nice and tight for this corner. I do find that the Mercedes suffers from a little bit of understeer when you get onto the throttle. The car after doesn't. It seems to be very good and very stable. Gaining a position from said Mercedes. Absolutely lovely. Nice and tight into this corner. Down to first gear. Over the right. Over the left. And this is what I mean about the understeer. It's so detrimental in this car. I mean, probably not as detrimental as what they're suffering across the road. But, yeah, it really pulls back on the confidence you once had with the ability of this thing trying to corner. And it doesn't help that it roasts the tyres as well. So, while this Mercedes is a great car, it's certainly not one for the tight tracks. Unless I've got the setup wrong, but it's fixed, you know. It's just not a great choice of car. And by the end of lap 6... you know, not much has improved. You know, we're into the final lap now, coming around for the final corner. And you know what? Thank golly, I'm getting out of this Mercedes because it was just awful at this track. And we're finishing the race off in position 15. What an achievement that was. Got crashed into, then fell off, and we finish overall in P15. And 1 minute 7 seconds away from position 1. That is a mountain of time, considering it's only like 140-ish a lap. There we are, 144 a lap. Yeah, that ain't great, Flash. Come on. Improvements need to be made, and improvements are delivered with a Ford Mustang. A great bit of kit, and we'll also change the field of view as well. I'm running this at, I think it's 60 field of view. The Mercedes I was running at 70. Didn't know you could do that. Found it, and do you know what? Because I'm on an ultra wide screen, what a help it was. I could see to the left, I see to the right a little bit more. Yep, I love it. I've also got a key balance, so when we jump into other cars, you know, you can set it up just the way you want it. Absolutely ideal. What else is ideal? We're coming round turn 1 in one piece. Everybody's side by side. Stuff is still going on. People were going to start settling down, and hopefully Jay Shin isn't in this race. And they're not, to be fair. You know, this race is such the total opposite to the first race. You know, it's not even funny. I mean, that Porsche, on the other hand, is not having a good time. They really are not. And we're under attack by T. John, who's now taking that position. I'm surrendering it on purpose. There's no rush. We're lap 1 of 12. And if they want to eat their way through, go for it, buddy. We're just going to follow up behind, and we're going to apply the pressure ourselves and take that position. Some people are a little bit more eager than others. I totally understand that. But we don't want to be having any contact. We want to keep this car clean. You know, no scratches, no damage, as well as, you know, build a safety rating, driver rating up, things like that. You know, all improvements need to be made. Thing is, the Lexus did cut our nose off a little bit, and we had to brake a little bit earlier. But I think the Lexus is a bigger brute. Could be wrong, correct me if I am wrong, but that will hopefully play in our favor later in this race, because this Mustang, you can get on the power so early and it accepts it. You know, you don't get a mountain of understeer like you did in the Mercedes. It's got a great bit of power behind it. The green flag has gone. Is that normal? I can only presume it's normal. Wow, we set at 158. That's slow. I mean, position 1 set at 148, so we're 10 seconds slower than P1. Not ideal. Not ideal for the first lap. But, you know, everybody's still figuring out where they are, where they need to be. The Lexus, again, did another great move. Overtook the McLaren. So we need to start making gains now. This is lap 2. Tyres are warmed up. Let's get going and start claiming these places. Coming around for turn 3 into 4. Great bit of corner. I find that the rev limiter is a little bit, or the gear ratio, sorry, is a little bit slower than it is in the Mercedes. So we do hit the limiter a couple of times coming around that bend there. But no harm, no foul. Third gear is still the place to be in that corner. You go into fourth and start accelerating, you know, you start drifting out a little bit wide, and you don't set up yourself for the braking and the left turn after. Breaking down the first gear here, nice and tight, kissing that bit of red pad. The McLaren had a bit of a moment, and giving them the time to get back on the track, compose themselves, is only just fair racing, to be honest. You know, there's no rush, and if we start applying pressure, they might make another mistake, and we can capitalize upon that. And that's the whole idea of the game. Oh, they left. Well, you know, a position gain is a position gain, is all I can say. Now we just need to reel in the gap from the Lexus up in front. That could have gone a lot worse. The Porsche traveling across the track whilst people are coming around, less than ideal. Again, you just got to wait and be patient for things to settle. That could have gone wrong. Could have been exactly like Jay Shin did to us. It's the same corner. Oh dear, that could have gone so wrong. But it didn't. We kept it under control. And the Lexus knows that. Applying pressure, get into their head. They're going to start worrying with us right up behind them. Well, that's the idea anyway. They might not even give a crap that we're right behind them, but it's all aim of the game. You know, you're just trying to gain a position either by overtaking or by making them make a mistake. You know, it's all the aim of the game, and we're only lap 4 out of 12, and we're in position 8 already. And it did take us to the start of lap 5 to 6 to get side by side with the Lexus, because the car up in front is getting away from them, the Aston Martin. Problem is, the Lexus is actually far more aggressive than ourselves and nailed it into that corner. We did not. We stayed a bit composed, a bit defensive, shall we say? Maybe not defensive is the right word for it. Cautious is probably the better word for it. But the Lexus did go a little bit wide. Going to have the outside Aston Martin taking on new drifting lessons, but ultimately failed to hold on to the car, which is actually very difficult to do. But a position gained is a position gained. Problem we have at the moment, Gomez is really on the attack behind us. We need to get past this Lexus, because in the slow corners, that Lexus is so slow, and we are so much faster in the slow sections. The Mercedes is going to capitalize, going to try and make a move. And if we let that happen, that's 2 cars we now have to overtake. And if they also get held up by the Lexus, not ideal. So, yeah, we have to make that move upon them. Get past them, gain that position back. Come on, Mustang, you can do it. Look at how much closing that door in on that Lexus. The way this Mustang handles is incredible. The way it turns when you're on the power. Love this car. It is brilliant here. Again, don't have the DLC pack, so I don't know what the other cars are like, but I'm going to say credit where credit's due to this Mustang. What a stable bit of kit, and how pointy is it? Right, side by side now, again with the Lexus, coming over the start-finish line for the start of lap 7. Can we hold our nerve into turn 1? Look how close we are, neck and neck with each other. We're braking at the 100 board right there on the button, down to second gear, fluctuating that brake pedal to reduce a bit of heat from it, and kind of push the Lexus out a little bit, but a position gained nonetheless. 3.5 seconds away from the car up in front. Now we just need to make sure we can keep the power down, get the pace up, and get away from that Lexus behind, and make him Mercedes' problem. We don't need him being able to fire back, and you can see they're looking to try and claim that position back. But again, the way this car handles in the slow corners, that Lexus doesn't stand a chance, and we can get away from him. Now, we're now 0.5 seconds away. Still 3.6 seconds away from the Porsche up ahead, but that is another worry for another moment. Coming through here, first gear, nice and tight. use as much of the track limits as we can. Touch of the brake here, onto the pad on the right, start applying the power, drifting the car out. Beautiful. Looks like the Lexus is really attacking. Somehow they've found some added pace. Ooh. That's another position gained from a Mercedes. They do seem problematic at this track, I'm not going to lie. Coming out for the last corner, we're 0.7 seconds ahead from the Lexus. 0.8. I don't know if they're still going to be in the slipstream, but it doesn't seem to be because Gomez is now the car behind us. Not too sure where that Lexus has gone, but you know, they're not behind us. Gomez is 3.8 seconds away, coming up to 4 seconds. We have been playing with time here, closing that door to the Porsche up in front, who was at the start of lap 7, 3.6 seconds away. Lap 9, we're right up behind them. And it seems to be that the pressure is settling in. Mistakes are being made. Or is it that that Porsche is quite hard to handle? Not too sure. Do you mind? That could have been bad. Maybe they got a brake bias set too much to the front. Not too sure. But it has, well, given them a bit of a getaway space. 0.4 seconds. Going to be closing that door, but not as quick as we need it to be. We want to be side by side by turn 1. Doesn't look like it's going to be the case. They are hovering in the middle of the track. I'm going to play with them a little bit. I'm not going to be able to make a move in turn 1 though. But the idea is not to make that move. It's to initiate their thought that I'm going for it. You see how wide they've gone out in turn 1. We got it for turn 2. Can we outbrake him for turn 3? Wait, I might have got my numbers mixed up. Does it matter? No. Either way, we have gained that position with a 0.5 second lead as well. Coming around this corner, I see how good this car is. Nice and stable. Not roasting that tyre up too much. Down to second gear. Nice and tight through there, and out the other side we go. Beautiful. We're in position 4. We are 8.1 seconds away from P3. Sadly, it is lap 10 of 12, so we have 2 laps to find 8 seconds. It's going to be a real tall order to do that. But what we also need to bear in mind is we need to keep away from that Porsche behind, not let them get in our head and try and take that position away from us. And that is the idea here. Keep the power down, get this Mustang going, and get away from anybody behind, because Gomez is also 4.2 seconds away, so we are faster than them behind. We're 0.8 seconds away from the Porsche. This final corner is going to really determine it, because I think it's a little bit heavy, that car, a little bit not so good in the corners. 1.1 seconds away. Great bit of free air. 7.9 seconds away from the car up in front. And by lap 12, well, the start of lap 12, we set our best lap time of a 140. Is that our best lap time? There it is, sorry. A 143.875. Actually, really good competitive lap time, I think. At the end of this race, I'll have to double check. But again, 143.875 is pretty quick. Considering a lot of people on the leaderboard were showing 144s, things like that. You know, it's always good to be at the right end of the colour, let's be honest. Although this final lap isn't going all too pretty. Again, not too worried. It's more about staying on the track and getting it right, because we have 2 seconds from that Porsche behind us to play with. So it's not about catching up to position 3, more about securing this position overall. Breaking down the first gear, nice and tight in through here. Got to be very careful of track limits, but if you can really ride that fine line, you gain so much time from that corner there alone. Here down to second gear. And there's some great thing about this track. The elevation changes. It's so hard to see where your car actually is, especially in this kind of view. You know, yes, you could use chase cam and other camera views, but do you want to? No. You're better off here. There we are. Position 1 did a 142.881. What an insane lap time. That's 1 second faster than ourselves. And guess what car they're in? A Ford Mustang. Great choice. They're 27 seconds ahead of us. Not bad overall for the whole race. 144, 144. We're going to be setting a 144, I reckon. 144.5. Yeah, 144.6. Close enough. Not too bad. And we finished this race in position 4. Started off P18, P19 area. And we just worked our way slowly to the top. What a brilliant race that was. Here we are. Best lap times overall. 142.8, 143.897, 143.4 really. And we did a 133.9 almost. Well, the better side of that. Yes, and everybody else is on 144 time. Look at that. You know, that's not too bad for a third time around this track. Can't really grumble too much about that. But heading over to the crash cam, on the other hand, here comes race 1. Oof. Turn 1. Yeah, I've added some sound effects to it because it's funny. There's Jason. Doing what Jason does. So I did tell you, it wasn't just me. So that answers how they lost a lot of time back there. But this is the situation where they rear-ended us. Yeah, pretty much like that. So yeah. That corner was so destructive to a lot of cars. This here is really clumsy. Asshole. I couldn't help it. And same Ferrari again. And that's got to be so frustrating as well. This corner. Oh.
They ask how you are, and you just have to say you're fine, and you're not really fine. Just can't get into it because they would never understand.
Again, any yellow Mustang is Jason. The poor person had the worst luck of this race. That's the situation with Lexus. They've long gone now. Jason, just saying. So unlucky because you're going so fast around the corner. If you hit the brakes, you'll get lift off oversteer. I think their controller disconnected. Oh, by the way, Jason.
They ask how you are, and you just have to say you're fine, and you're not really fine. Just can't get into it because they would never understand.
I couldn't help it. I had to use it again. But this is now, they run the whole length backwards over start finish line, right to the other end. Yeah, I'm not even joking. It's that bad. A Cummings of togethers. This Porsche, on the other hand, was a bit weird. I think it had a ping-related issue, then crashed. I don't know if that's deliberate or not. Kind of weird because at the end of that they also crashed. Jason. Finished off. Second race. There's still a few crashes here, but not as destructive as the first race. This is just weird and clumsy, but well controlled and back to pointing in the right direction. That was a boot off the track. See you later, buddy. Try again. That's kind of naughty though, isn't it? Like, you know, unpredictable. And then you've had contact, so you've wrecked both cars. See what I mean? That corner's so messy. It takes so many people out. And I do feel sorry for this Mercedes here, because they held it. They held it and then had to snap. And that's what wrecked it for them. What do you think is our fault for that? Was the Lexus at fault or the Aston Martin for not giving space? It's so hard to determine that one. On the other hand, though, this Mercedes doesn't understand braking, and the Lexus has great car control. And here we have a Mustang in its natural habitat doing Mustang things. The Porsche, on the other hand, saw the Mustang was lonely and joined the club. This is just messy. Got a feel for the Porsche because rear-engined, rear-wheel drive, they had zero chance of recovering that. A little bit of tail out slap destroys the BMW, and the Mercedes just carries on like nothing ever happened, straight to the racing line to stitch everybody else up.